Greetings from the icy world of Ladakh. I will share with you the story of artificial glaciers, ice stupas, their simplicity and their future potential. But because this is about Ladakh and in your context, it's not easy to understand what I'm talking about. It will take some pictures to have an idea of the place that I'm talking about. As you can see, a very high mountain desert in the rain shadow of the Himalayas, hot, cold. Nature has left us high and dry, as I say. Despite harsh-looking environments, people have not only survived, but thrived over the centuries with a distinct culture and lifestyle of their own. Yes, we are a microscopic minority in this huge, vast tropical country, and because of that, there are many problems also. Linguistic, ethnic minority, technological, climatic minority, where nothing that works here works. And this problem is faced most by children who speak a different language and yet have to study in another language, live in a context and have to read books that talk about some other context, and that takes a toll on them. Every year, till recently, 95% of the students used to fail in their 10th grade exams. I came face to face with this situation when I had to teach 10th grade students to earn for financing my own engineering education. Because of some difference with my father over choosing mechanical engineering, which was my passion, and his demand that I choose civil engineering because that has scope, I had to leave home and be on my own. And for that, I chose to teach 10th grade students with many innovative ways. The exercise which I did during vacations was so successful that large number of students became an asset, and in 2 months, I had earned not just for that year's expense, but for all the 4 years of engineering expenses. And that taught me two things that changed my life. One was that you can make money anytime. Yeah? It takes 2 months to earn for 4 years, so better do something more interesting, and when you need, you can spend 2 months. That sort of took away the craze for money, or in current words, demonetized me. The second thing was, I saw how bright these young people were, and yet they would fail. So sharp to grasp every concept in science, maths. I thought it was meaningless to add to the crowd of engineers. Rather, this system needs to be changed. And I started thinking, in life, one has to think of not just what I need, but also what needs me. And therefore, I thought, this needs me more. So, soon after finishing my engineering, I started working with like-minded friends through this organization called SECMOL, the Students' Educational and Cultural Movement of Ladakh. Working together with the government, we changed many things in the system, trained all the teachers, textbooks were made contextual for the mountains, organized villagers to take ownership, and the results, as you can see, changed from 5% success slowly to 75%. Now, 75% is great, but 25% is a lot to fail. Even 1% is a lot if that 1% happens to be you. So, for those who still failed, we set up a special school that would help them learn the way they learn if they didn't learn the way they were taught. So this school is a very special school. To begin with, the criteria of admission is that you have failed the conventional system. Yeah? And then, together with that, we tried our hands on all the things we thought should be right for the earth, right for the mountains. So the whole school is solar-powered, built with mud, earth. And the students learn not just from textbooks and teachers, but from life. They run the school themselves through like a little country with a little government and a little parliament that changes every 2 months, and in their elected government, the leader assigns them responsibilities, real-life responsibilities of running the school, from food production to energy systems to water management. They set goals, plan, execute, report, and learn the skills of life, governance, management that way, not from lectures or books. They learn more complex theories in science by contextualizing them, applying them in life. So germ theory, for example, would be learned by using it to make jam in a big jam-making festival. Similarly, innovations revolve around their lives, things relevant to them, for example, around earth, sun, ice, and fire. With earth, the material you find right under your feet, is how we built the school together with the students, designed and built this earth-built, mud-built schools that are very modern, yet very ancient material. And they are heated by the sun, which is free for all, right above our head. And a very simple system, as you can see, a greenhouse heats the air, hot air rises, enters the building, pushes the cold air into the greenhouse, goes around and around, a convection cycle all day with no moving parts, no machines, no energy, keeps collecting the heat inside. When you close the windows at night, the walls start radiating to the room. When the outside goes to minus 15, minus 20, the rooms stay at plus 15, more comfortable than Delhi or any of these warm places in winter. Sun is also the main source of energy at this school, from cooking to greenhouses that produce vegetables, lighting, photovoltaics, water heating, water pumping. Even the cows here live in solar-heated cow sheds. But of all the solar contraptions, my favorite cannot be seen here. My favorite is our time zone, which is 1 hour ahead of the Indian Standard Time, as this works like a little country. And the reason for that time zone is not secession or separation. It's only so that young people go to bed early and get up with the sunshine. Because for me, it's not these complex machines that are amazing. What is simplest of solar lighting is what happens outside your window at 5:30 in the morning. We forget that solar lighting and brag about our Li-ion batteries, LED lights, and photovoltaics. If the whole world, I was doing a back-of-envelope calculation, if the whole world woke up with the sunrise and went to bed not too late, too long after dark, we can shut down many thermal power plants and nuclear power plants. That much we may have to change for saving the earth. So, high-tech to me means beyond moving parts, beyond complexities. Similarly, to solve water problems that are becoming bigger and bigger in the mountains with climate change and fast-melting glaciers, we started 3 years ago thinking of ways to save our farming and water issues, inspired by a fellow, very senior 80-year-old engineer who was working on freezing ice fields. We started making ice stupa artificial glaciers, which could be made at any altitude and could freeze the water that goes waste in winter in the streams when nobody needs, there's no farming in winter, to freeze that into towers or cones, huge cones of ice that would melt only slowly in spring when everybody, fights for every drop of water. Very simple technology again, no moving parts, no machines, no power, nothing to break down. All it takes is a pipe, and because mountain by definition has an upslope and a downslope, so put the pipe upstream and take it where you want water, and downstream in the pipe, because of the gravity or potential energy, pressure builds up and a fountain breaks. And what that does is splits the water into drops, thereby exposing maximum surface area of water to -20 air, loses its heat, falls down, and soon freezes. And slowly, naturally, it takes the shape of a cone, which is the best geometry for ice to last. It has the minimum surface area for the volume, and therefore it melts in April, May, June. That's when farmers need water. Very simple again, no rocket science, high school science actually, but it works, and we are taking it further, both closer to the people. For example, because of its shape that resembles traditional stupas, which you find dotting whole of Himalayan landscape, we started calling it ice stupas, so that people could relate to it, feel close to it. Technology and tradition could go hand in hand. So we put even prayer flags, which to people is prayer flags, but for us designing, it is partial sunshade in spring and partial windbreak from the warm spring winds that makes it last even longer. Now, these ice stupa artificial glaciers that are a product of the school, how students try to rise to the occasion to solve real problems of the real world. Similarly, how the school was built with earth and solar heating, that also, both of these, we are trying to bring it to the people in general, share it, but not share it as a charity, launch entrepreneurships, companies that could give this service to other people in Ladakh and the whole world. So we are now launching a company called Shezyon Innovations that could then give this technology to different places. That will be run professionally, but the revenues could fuel more research, development, education of the youth, and finding solutions to problems of places like the mountains. One of its applications has been on a dangerous lake in Sikkim, which is declared to be like a bomb. There are many such dangerous lakes because of fast melting glaciers, one of which you would have known was partly responsible for causing the Kedarnath flood. And there are many such bombs ticking in the Himalayas. So Sikkim government invited us to do an operation on that dangerous lake that you just saw, 2 kilometers long. And we used, again, a very simple science, that of siphon, more known among teenagers as the way to steal petrol from a car. Yeah? Just suck from a pipe and take it. That simple technique was used, but here, of course, it was much bigger pipes taken on yak backs for 4 days of trek, and then it was installed on the lake, which then caused the sucking of 50 liters per second from that lake. And 3 of these are installed as the first phase. Already the lake should be 1.5 meters lower, thereby reducing the danger of flood. It will go to 5 meters ultimately, but that's solving the problem. We want to more than solve the problem, actually use it as an opportunity, which is the future prospect of what ice stupas can do. So this is an experiment that's going on in high valleys in Ladakh to solve this problem in different parts of the Himalayas. What we are experimenting for at this school is siphoning the lakes and then refreezing the water into many, many ice stupas that then grow and merge and become a big ice sheet that doesn't even fully melt in the summer, and the next winter comes, grows again, melts a little, and the next winter comes, thereby man-made artificial glaciers. This is still under experimentation, and if it succeeds, or when it succeeds, it will be first time after 10,000 years, the last ice age, that we'll be seeing reglaciation of the Himalayas. In October, I, with my student, were in Switzerland to share this technique with the Swiss in the Swiss Alps, where they want to use it for growing their glaciers and also as a tourism attraction. So we built Europe's first ice stupas with a beautiful willow dome and then the fountain breaks and it covers the dome, and the dome becomes a void hall where they want to play orchestras and put up exhibitions. Now, these can be tourist attractions in Ladakh also. You can have ice hotels inside with many such domes. In other words, tourists will have an experience and pay for the ice that will become farmers' water. The ice stupa also won recently the Rolex Award for Enterprise. There was a reason we applied for this award. It was chosen from among 2,322 applicants from 144 nationalities, but we applied for it not for that glory. We had a bigger design in mind. Having proven the ice stupa in the deserts, we thought these kind of solutions should be a part of the normal learning of young people. It should not be one of strange people doing strange things. This is what higher education should be about. And the desert we started greening, we thought, what better use to put it than setting up an alternative university that sets the trend for the world for making higher education relevant to life, making it hands-on, practical, engaging for the young people. But that would take a lot of resources, human and financial. And we thought Rolex Award is a very good way. The publicity it comes with will take our message to the world so that people with human resource like freshly retired professors, people wanting to volunteer, people wanting to contribute financially could contact us. The publicity is useful. Then it had a handsome sum of money. Now that would be a good thing to start a donation drive by donating the award money itself. For a change, you're not just asking, you're giving and then asking people to match it. So that's what we are now doing. We are launching an alternative university for mountain development in this desert. 200 acres of desert land has been given by the Hill Council government, where we'll be setting up this university from a very dry desert to this imagination of our students of how it will be a green city from starting with a university. It will be very different university, hands-on, as I said. For example, the School of Business will actually run companies on campus where students learn on the shop floor and gain experience and are ready to be employed or start things. School of Tourism may run high-end hotels and simple homestays where students learn and generates revenue. Similarly, the School of Education would run innovative schools. Revenues from these will sustain the university and students would get free higher education. Or they'd pay, but in their sweat, equity, and creativity, not just the currency of rupees. And then the university slowly grows into a green city. That's our idea. And we are amazed at how people have been helping us. When we were doing the ice stupa, it's wonderful to see that companies donated pipes when we ran into trouble with pipes. Air Force, the Indian Air Force flew pipes by air when the roads were closed to Ladakh. Similarly, a company has been helping us design the whole university campus. And now with the Rolex Award, when we launched just yesterday with the Jammu and Kashmir Minister for Education in Delhi, a crowdfunding campaign, Milap, the funding site, waived all platform fees so that people of the nation and the world could perhaps make a record-breaking collection to make a real university possible, which could perhaps change the face of higher education, not just in Ladakh and India, but perhaps around the world. And if you're thinking whether this kind of practical, engaging education works, then consider some of these stars in Ladakh. You can see what they're doing. So these are very special people who have been very successful, but the common thing among them is that they were students of that school that you saw in the beginning, and they were miserable failures. Therefore, so if this kind of learning environment does this to so-called failures, you can imagine what others could do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.